to coverage for Olympics in split screen in just a little bit here. I want to tell you about our latest tornado warning. That's going to be for southern Effingham County. That's going to be just south of Effingham, south of Interstate 70. That runs up until the bottom of the hour. I'm looking at the clock right now. We're at the 3:15 time frame. You can also see it on our banner here. These storms are moving off to the east-northeast at about 40 miles per hour. So I will zoom in on this. If we could go full screen on this, gentlemen, that would be much appreciated. And we'll take a look at what we're dealing with. There is the worst of the storm system. Again, Interstate 70 running along from west-southwest to east-northeast. The worst of the storm just off to the northeast of Mason. With this storm system, there was a radar indicated rotation associated with this, along with quarter-size hail. 18 miles away from Effingham is the center of the storm system, but we are going to be dealing with at least a little bit in terms of small hail associated with the storm as it moves off to the northeast or east-northeast at about 40 miles per hour. Put that on a storm tracker for you. And we'll take a look at that as we go through time. And some of these storms, by the way, have been moving even a little bit faster. Now that is outside the polygon, but you can see that it goes up to Dietrich just before the bottom of the hour. Wheeler just past that. So obviously still some concerns with this feature as we go through time. So definitely want to stay tuned for the latest. Now, a couple of things that you see with the storm system, and you could see ice skating in the bottom corner there. And there is the new update just getting off along that Illinois 37 corridor for the axis of that rotation associated with the storm. The tornado polygon, which is the red one, is inside a severe thunderstorm warning polygon that actually does include a larger piece of Effingham County. It's not the only feature out there. We also have a severe thunderstorm warning for western Coles County, and you can see that cell just off to the southeast of Windsor. So that's going to be Shelby into southern Moultrie, as well as western Coles County. That severe thunderstorm, by the way, and we'll take a look at this one here. That severe thunderstorm runs up until 4 o'clock, and again, also moving off to the east-northeast. So 1 tornado warning, 2 severe thunderstorm warnings. The tornado watch that was in effect for areas off to the south and east, which included just Effingham County, is going to be expanded farther to the northwest. That runs up until 8 o'clock. So there you could see the new, kind of covered up by skating just a little bit. But it does run from Effingham up through Shelby County, Moultrie, and points eastbound. So there it is right there. And again, that watch extended for a larger section of southeastern central Illinois up until 8 o'clock this evening. There's one game in town, well, a couple clusters of thunderstorms, but one game in town that has that severe signature in terms of tornadic activity, and you could see it on motion moving through southern portions of Effingham County. So take a little bit of a different look with our GR Analyst software here. It gives you a little bit of a better distinction with this storm system. And I'll go to the velocity tracker here, which actually shows that rotation. So again, there's that Illinois 37 that runs up from Mason up through Watson. And you could see, do keep in mind, the green shaded area, that's the wind going toward Doppler radar site, which is in Lincoln. So once you get, say, east of Watson, that's a southerly wind flow. Excuse me. But where you see that triangle, that number 2 right there, that's an indicator that the hail is over 2 inches in diameter right now. That is massive. Doppler radar sometimes overestimates the amount of hail, but you could clearly see the red shaded area within that corridor. So southerly winds in through here, northerly winds in through there. So that couplet rotation is just off to the southeast of Watson, and it is rotating off to the east-northeast at about 40 miles an hour. So even though Dietrich and Wheeler are both out of the polygon for severe weather, I would be in my safe location right now, to be honest with you. Not a whole lot in terms of larger towns in this area. And there is the latest update that just came in. Look for in these type of scenarios, but definitely at least some rotation. And it's fairly tight. You get east of Interstate 57 and Illinois 37, that's exactly what we're dealing with. So again, in this type of a setup, there's your wind going toward Doppler radar. And this is the newest update as well. Well off to the southeast. I shouldn't say well off, but it's a good 5 miles off to the southeast of Wilson, toward Doppler radar and away from Doppler radar in the red shaded area right there. So the rotation is coming up on Elliottstown right now. So if I'm able to go back and just expand the view for you, you could see Dietrich, Wheeler coming up on Illinois 33. These are areas that are outside the polygon, but obviously it's a situation with the storm system moving at 40 miles an hour. It's going to be coming up fast on these areas. The question mark, because this is a Doppler indicated, it's in an area that isn't greatly populated. Is it going to be able to maintain its intensity as we go through time? Certainly nothing etched in stone, but that is definitely a distinct couplet with the winds toward and away from Doppler radar. Now there's a little bit of an update just coming in that we saw. So now shifting just off to the southwest of Elliottstown. That in the far southeastern flank of Effingham County. And do keep in mind how the counties are situated. Once you get farther to the east toward Newton, that's a little bit out of our coverage area. So if the storm system is able to continue in this fashion, it's definitely going to be moving out of our coverage area, and we'll pass it off to our friends in the Paducah market. But again, two separate entities that we're keeping tabs on. This one actually shows a nice little couplet as well. Not too far away from Paradise there, off to the southwest of Mattoon, Sexton Corner. So again, when you're looking at stuff like this, always remember the orientation of where Lincoln Doppler radar site is. It's that way and then going away here. So we do have that rotation that's in this area as well. There are rotating clouds within this area. We are getting reports of that, but nothing in terms of say eyeballs or boots on the ground, if you will, in terms of anything that would have a tornado on the ground. So this is a scenario that's coming into southwestern Coles County. You can see where the cutoff for the county is just off to the north of Neoga right now. Back farther to the south, hasn't updated just yet, so we're still dealing with that Elliottstown area for the possible rotation. And there's a little bit of a new area coming in as well. And meteorologist Nick Patrick in on the scene as well, so that we're going to keep tabs on these storms, kind of going through what we have. I haven't seen anything yet here, Nick, in terms of damage reports, but they did expand the tornado watch.
A little bit further.
A little bit farther off to the northwest to encompass these two separate storms. We were talking just a little while ago that nothing was able to get going above 20,000. There was just so much wind shear, and we were waiting for that dry line southwest of St. Louis to come in, and perhaps after 5 o'clock still ignite something. That's still true.
Right.
It's just that these storms now have definitely taken a bit of an attitude with us.
Yeah, real quick, Jim. That's what we're talking about this morning, though, how quick these storms could develop. That's why we told people to be weather aware today, know what was going on. So as you said, too, we've got the tornado warning now just south of Effingham, pushing up, but then that second cell beginning to develop. I saw the National Weather Service posting that they're looking at these cells developing very quickly now for the next couple of hours.
Absolutely, and I'm looking at the clock on the wall right now. This in effect for another 6 minutes for Effingham County, but we do have additional warnings farther off to the north. Is this a new warning that's coming in, or perhaps just an update? We'll see right here. Yeah, so they are extending this one, and this is going to be for northwestern Jasper, which is a little bit out of our area, as well as east central Effingham County until 4:15. Same movement, the storm off to the northeast, but they've slowed it off to about 30 miles per hour. The thing is, again, and we're going to pass this off most likely to our friends out in the Paducah market. But once this crosses the border here, you're out into Jasper County, and that's where you see that new polygon. Probably should zoom out on that so
Sure.
everyone could see that in a little bit more detail. So there's that much larger polygon, that red shade area that does include the Wheeler area right now. I'll hop over to the green wall, Nick, if you
Okay.
want to check this one out.
Sure. Yeah, and Jim, what you're saying too here, so just inside, it does look like that little couplet there is what I'm seeing just kind of southeast of Watson. So understandably, so the Dietrich area there, a little bit further outside, spot we've been keeping our eye on here. This was the most primed area, Effingham County, and by the time we expected things to fire up, just took maybe an extra hour for things to really develop for us. So this tornado warning going to be hanging around for us here for another 5 minutes in the original polygon, and then you have this second one now. I'll put that on there for you. That's until 4:15. So I haven't really talked about it yet. We knew coming into this that you needed to be weather aware, know where your safe places are. This is a very early tornado warning here for us. So this is a good reminder, hey, be in practice. We had that tornado warning at the beginning of the year as well, and into December. So hopefully this is going to just be passing by pretty quickly outside of the main cities. But just know that this is kind of the first real taste of spring-like weather.
All good points to make, Nick. And again, those separate warnings, kind of waiting to see what the National Weather Service does, even though it's a weaker rotation just on the southwest side of Mattoon right now. That hasn't gone with a tornado warning. It does carry the tornado tag, and when I say that, is that there is rotation within the storm. We've had boots on the ground in that area confirm that there actually is. So we are looking at some rotation with the storm, but just nothing that's been confirmed in terms of it reaching the ground. So you can see the difference in velocity right there that we're dealing with going away from and toward Doppler radar. And that's going to be the issue as we go through the rest of this afternoon, probably up until about 7 or 8 o'clock this evening with some of these storms. A lot of them are going to continue to show rotation, but is it going to be reaching the ground? Brand new severe thunderstorm warning looks like it was just issued for this area. Nick, if you want to give us the rundown for that one.
Let's see here. Yes, so this is hail, inch in diameter hail indicated with this along a line here near Shelbyville and near Beecher City. So that's moving about 30 miles an hour. Looks like wind gusts indicated with this as well. But hail damage looks like might be a bigger threat with this one, Jim. It looks like Windsor and Stewartson both impacted around 3:35, so 7 minutes from now.
So yeah, we're actually seeing a couple corridors south of Mattoon, off to the northeast of Clarksburg, and also off to the west of Stewardson there. So a few different areas, hence the large nature of the polygons and kind of the weird rotations that we're seeing across the area. So with these storms, we're going to continue to see broad expanse. And you can see the latest, tornado warning extending all the way into Jasper County. But the one that's it does include east central areas of Effingham County, and this one was until 4:15, correct here, Nick? This,
yep.
Tornado. So 4:15, but here's the rotation that we're picking up on Doppler radar. Once that crosses the border, no longer in our coverage area. We all go by the coverage area. Our friends in Paducah are tracking this storm system as well, and they're going to be taking it over, as well as our friends in St. Louis. If you're watching, sometimes a little bit of coverage area. We all get, we all share some border counties, if you will. But this obviously, I don't think this one's going to last until 4:15 for our corridor. We're coming up on 3:30 right now, so the initial polygon will drop off here within the next minute, and we'll only see this one tornado warning. That's over east central portions of Effingham County. As I mentioned prior, getting away from Dietrich area. It's in an area that really isn't all that populated right now, and it's going to be crossing into Jasper County. So a lot of small country roads out in this part of Illinois, along with the severe thunderstorm warnings that are farther off to the north. And I mentioned before, they do have the tornado tag. And when there's rotation, within the storm or Doppler radar picking up on it, it doesn't necessarily mean that the rotation's coming all the way down to the ground helping to spawn tornadic activity. It's just that there's rotation within the column of air that's helping the updraft and the storm to maintain itself or sustain its intensity. So a tornado could pop up at any given point within a second. That's what that means when there's a tornado tag attached to the severe thunderstorm warning. So now there's the update, just Coles County until the top of the hour here for this severe thunderstorm warning, and until, was it 4:15 for the Shelby County one, Nick?
Yes, yes.
A lot of times, these times get by me. So you can see how the initial tornado warning has now gone off our map, that we have reached the 3:30 time frame, and the rotating area just getting close to the border of Effingham and Jasper County. So we'll definitely be keeping tabs on that. Can you zoom in on this one here, Nick? That eastern Effingham County.
Yep.
Hopefully we'll get an update coming in here soon. This is the only game in town that actually has the tornado warning associated with it, just off to the south of Dietrich. So again, with these motions, and again, 30, 40 miles an hour, they go back and forth, okay? Regardless of that, that's a pretty good speed. Sure, it's not like some of the ones we saw in December when they were hauling at 50, 60 miles per hour, but you have to know where your safe place is, okay? Illinois 33, you're along that stretch, and I don't care if it's all the way down in Newton, I'd be in my safe location now. And the bottom line, what it comes down to is you put as many walls in between you and the outside as possible. Lowest level possible first, then more walls in between you and outside. Had one lady stop me on the street not too long ago. I usually hop in the bathtub. I'm like, well, does it have an exterior wall? Do you have a window? Yes. I'm like, no. No basement, ranch house. That's usually when you want to head into a closet. They said they didn't have an interior closet, but they had a crawl space. Well then, all right, that's your safe location. Wherever it's going to be, whatever is the lowest level, you may be on it already if it's just a ranch. If you're an apartment, it's a building, lowest floor, downstairs, laundry room, more walls in between you and the outside as possible, okay? So numero uno, get down low. Number two, 2, 3, 4 walls instead of just one. If it has a window, that's an exterior wall, and that is no bueno when it comes to this situation here. I was hoping that we had an update on Doppler radar coming through with this one, but no go on that one just yet, but that should be coming in momentarily. Moving at 30 miles an hour, this is going to quickly be hopping into Jasper County, and then we'll be taking a look at some of the storms into Coles as well as Shelby County. Let's see what they look like on the Doppler radar here, Nick.
Sure.
Because before it didn't have that classic backwards C notch, if you will, on Doppler radar. And typically the way we get that backwards C is that you get a rear inflow. So when you take a look at this, there's a little bit of curvature right there. So you're getting the rear inflow into the back side of the storm system right here that creates that comma or hook-like signature, almost like the top half of a question mark. A lot of times we see them oriented like this as opposed to this, but it is what it is. I mean, it's still there. That's your rotation, and that's exactly where we see that right now, just off to the south of Dietrich. Farther to the north, we have those severe thunderstorm warnings in play. That's going to be for Shelby on into extreme southern portions of Moultrie County. Very, very small part of Moultrie County. Here's the county border with Shelby on into southwestern Coles. Now, this is away from Shelbyville, mind you, so it's not in effect for Shelbyville itself, just the eastern flank of Shelby County, and that's going to be running up until 4:15 this afternoon. See the timestamp right here. We're at 3:34 this afternoon. Olympic skating, if you're into the ice dancing, whatever they call it. I'm not up on all the Olympic sports. Still going to be visible there. We're here to save lives and property, okay? Don't get irate that you're missing part of the Olympics. You're only missing the audio. could watch some of it later on, hopefully in the prime time as the storms wind down. We want to save your life. We want to save your property. Now, if you're saying, I live in Sangamon County, my life and property is just fine, and that's true for the time being. But what if you had family down here? What if you had friends down here? And even if you don't, there's times when storms are going to be impacting you as well. And if it's a tornado bearing down on your house, your neighborhood, wouldn't you want us to be here as well? So let's all relax. Let's get through this dangerous situation here. So no update just yet on Doppler radar for this storm system over east central Effingham County. But actually, this does look like a new one here, Nick, correct?
Yeah, they did go ahead and drop that severe thunderstorm warning on that, Jim. So let's see here. Yes, okay, expired the tornado warning for southeastern Effingham, just expired officially.
That was the 331.
Yeah.
Any reports of spotters showing anything associated with this or anything so far?
Only thing we have is out of Ballard County, so
Okay.
nothing with us yet. A little bit further south is all.
Okay, not just yet, but so right here, Dietrich's right here along Illinois 33, and the rotation is just off to the south. This is going to be quickly crossing over the border, excuse me, into Jasper County. That's where Newton is. So that's that stretch going Effingham to Newton, Illinois 33, and it is crossing over this area. Tremendous amount of rain. I was looking at some of the numbers on Doppler radar earlier. And if this were to stay in one location for an hour's time frame, it would be dropping 1.8 inches would be the estimate, which is just, not unheard of, but it's absurd. I mean, we need rainfall. The unfortunate thing is, this is a scenario where it's a feast or famine in terms of rainfall. There's a large part of central Illinois that, it's just warm right now and bone dry. So a scenario like this really doesn't go too far to help us out, to be honest with you. Now that rotation definitely has crossed into Jasper County. So it looks like Effingham County, for at least for our viewers, is out of the woods. Let's see what's cooking farther off to the north with these severe thunderstorm warnings here, Nick.
Yeah, and Effingham Unit 40 Schools, Jim, just announcing that they're letting their buses get back to their regular routes there, and students who are sheltered are being able to being released there. So that's some positivity.
Always love to hear good news like that. So if we could zoom in on this southwestern Coles County one here, because that doesn't look as impressive as earlier. And that's great news. Who wants a tornado, for crying out loud? No, none of us. So you do still have the green-red couplet right there. So there's rotation, but notice how it's all strung out. You're not dealing with like a one compact circular feature. So I'm not really concerned about Coles County right now. In terms of, let me rephrase that. In terms of tornadic activity, I'm not concerned about Coles County right now, okay? There's some big storms out here, though. Out towards Strasburg, that still has a little bit of a definable circulation associated with that. And Illinois 16 is huge, going from Paris, Kansas, through Charleston, Mattoon, to Shelbyville, all the way to that I-55 corridor, Litchfield area. So this is it right here. The worst of that is just off to the south of Illinois 16. But notice how it's more of a, for lack of better imagination, a pastel color as opposed to the darker red farther off to the east. So the contrast is less here. So if anything, and I'm sure this has the tornado tag. I'll have you call that up, Nick, if you could punch up the details on this severe thunderstorm warning. But I would imagine that they still have the tornado tag on any of these storms. And again, when I say tornado tag, it's possible tornado could drop at any point. Yes, it's
it is on there. Yep.
It is? Okay.
Yes.
I certainly wouldn't argue against that. Even though it is a severe thunderstorm warning, There are signs of rotating storms here. They're just not reaching the ground. And this running up until 4:15 during this afternoon. But again, that's in that Strasburg area, well off to, maybe not well, but it's definitely off to the east of Shelbyville, Clarksville, Cowden area, and it's moving off to the east-northeast at about 30 miles an hour. So it's kind of playing follow the leader with what's in southwestern Coles County right now into northwestern Cumberland. But it looks like a fairly weak rotation. Could you punch those numbers back up again here, Nick? Because earlier, the one in Coles County looked quite intense.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to see what we're dealing with here.
Where do you want it, Jim?
Oh, just for the feature in Strasburg,
Okay,
if you could put the velocity numbers up there.
Let's see here. Yeah, it looks like it's fallen off a little bit there.
Yeah, I mean, okay, yeah, there's rotation there. It's decent. I thought there'd be less of a gap what we're looking at, but this just goes to show you winds moving toward and away from Doppler radar. The greater the change in the number, the greater the rotation, which would not necessarily mean tornadic activity, but at least it would be a distinct possibility. So we'll continue to keep tabs on that, and just off to the south of Windsor right now, getting through that Strasburg area. Neoga just off on the eastern flank of this severe thunderstorm polygon. Maybe we could put a tracker on this one, Nick, if we go back to Doppler radar.
Yeah.
And again, that was at 30 miles an hour. We'll just push that out in time and see what we're headed with here. So yeah, I mean, formidable clusters of thunderstorms. There's a lot out there, to be honest with you. But yeah, we'll just put it on the leading edge of this guy right here in Shelby County and pull it out maybe toward Mattoon area.
Okay. Yep, let's go ahead. Closer to here.
So you could, just take a look at some of the timestamps there, headed toward Lerna at 4:07, Charleston 4:20. So it's definitely coming in this area. If you're in the sound of my voice, and we don't want to cry wolf all the time, but there is minor rotation within these storms. We're going to drop out and go back to Olympic coverage right now, but things to keep in mind. Stay with this storm system. If you're in this area, stay with it, okay? Keep tabs on it. Doppler radar, it's free on the WA&D weather app. You can download it now, stay ahead of the storm. It's going to track your location, okay? It's not going to give you, if you're in Mattoon, you don't want it to give you information for Bloomington, it's not going to. You don't want to get information about Effingham? It won't. It's only going to give it to you for what area you want, and it has the Futurecast Doppler radar. Again, this is all free. So I want you in your safe locations just to be on the safe side here. We don't play games with Mother Nature, especially when these polygons are out here. Again, keep in mind, the warning for southwestern Coles is in for another 17 minutes, 4:15 for eastern Shelby County. Unless the rotation tightens up, we're going to wait for some of the storms in around St. Louis to come up via Macoupin and Montgomery County way in just a little bit. And if we could expand the view here, Nick, and show what we're talking about, because I still think this is an area that bears watching coming up from St. Louis. And that's just, there it is right there. It doesn't look like much of anything right now, but we do believe that this is going to intensify. You can see some of the heavier storms just getting together over Interstate 64. Now, it's not etched in stone, but we do believe that as it comes up from southwest to northeast, we could have some more problems on our hands in terms of severe thunderstorms with isolated tornadic activity. So again, I want to thank you for staying with us. We'll get you back to Olympic coverage. With any additional tornadic activity, you better believe we'll be back here to keep you in the know. Well, we'll get that split screen to Olympic coverage coming up in just a little bit. Want to tell you about our latest warning. This one's until 4:15. This is Cumberland County is right here. So it's kind of like the eastern half getting into the southwestern flank of Clark County. This runs up until 4:15, and the rotation, initially this was a severe thunderstorm warning with that tornado possible tag. They went ahead and just pop the tornado warning into it for the time being. But it is Doppler radar indicated, not necessarily tornadic activity, but strong enough rotation. We saw that before with that lighter pastel color. Once we were into eastern portions of Shelby County, this is your brighter red and green here. So a stronger couplet sandwiched in this area of Cumberland County. So you're south of Interstate 70 and US 40 for the strongest part of the storm system. Not a populated area again, but this is southern portions of southern portions of Cumberland County. Too many C's. Even Casey right there, which is included in that polygon. If you're in that polygon, you hear my voice. Clark. Indications now is that these storms moving into an area of less wind shear, but still enough to promote tornadic activity, will be able to maintain itself all the way on into Indiana. So more likely than not, we're going to continue to see or at least track this storm system, and it will be across the remainder of Clark County. This is Illinois 1 here that runs up through Marshall toward Paris, right on into the Indiana border, which is right here. So we'll likely be looking at a new warning coming up in just a little bit. So Nick, if you could pop up Doppler radar for me, we'll put a timer on that one running off to the northeast at 25 miles per hour. So fairly big cluster of storms right there. You have the one in Jasper County, then again coming up through Cumberland right now. Casey able to get wet right now, even rain extending farther off to the east. But in terms of tornado warning, this is the one that's in town for the time being. Comes up to Casey at 4:06. My big melon's coming up the timestamp right there. We're in at 3:54 right now. So that's just 12 minutes from now. Don't be lollygagging here. Even though the storm's not marching at 50 miles an hour, you want to get into your safe location pronto, okay? Be ahead of the storm system. Don't play games with Mother Nature. 421 Martinsville, then you're over to Marshall, that stretch of Illinois 1, even though it's out of the polygon right now, because this one goes up until 415, and that says 446 right there. As I mentioned, probably a long track system. Could be multiple touchdowns, could be none at all. There's at least strong rotation associated with the storm system, so it's got all the looks of a tornado. The question mark is whether or not it's there. The unfortunate part again, well, kind of actually fortunate part, it's in an area that isn't populated for the most part. Comes up into Casey, that's a different ball game right there. But if it's able to stay just off to the south of Interstate 70 and US 40, that would be better news, as it'd be mostly over farmland, but still able to produce some damage right there. So we'll head back to that velocity tracker here, Nick, and take a look at the storm system as it goes through time. And again, do keep in mind the timestamps that we just mentioned right there. And you could see so you see the different colors right there. It's just one Doppler radar site to another. So that was being that we're getting off to the southeastern flank of Lincoln's radar. It may flip over to Indianapolis at times. That is the next closest radar site off to our east. But this is out of Lincoln. So you're looking at the green shade area going northwest there, red toward the southeast right there. This looks like it may have weakened just a little bit. And there are splotches of green off to the east here. But again, that would be clockwise rotation. We're looking for an area that's going to be counterclockwise rotation. Southern hemisphere would be clockwise rotation for cyclones. But here in the northern hemisphere, it's counterclockwise. So that's what we're looking for, that counterclockwise twist right there. So definitely still off to the southwest of Casey, southeast of Toledo. If you're in Toledo, you're A-OK. There's the Doppler update. So again, tighter rotation, still generally south of Interstate 70 though, but it's got a beeline toward the east-northeast, so it could very easily clip Casey. Farther to the south, that's going to be Illinois 49. That's this area right here. and that's just across the border. So you're going from Cumberland on into Clark County right there. And this was an area, Clark County, that had some pretty sizable damage for some of the hog farms in this area just last year. And here comes another storm system. Nonetheless, green up where the storm system developed a little while ago. Things are tapering down. Still a lot of wind. And that's something that we should also mention because, even with these systems, you could very easily have, EF1, not even going to rule out an EF2. So you're easily talking well over 120 miles an hour, excuse me, for sustained winds. But even non-thunderstorm winds throughout the remainder of tonight, even though the wet weather will be long gone after about 8, 9 o'clock this evening, we could still have gusts 40 to 50 miles per hour anywhere across central Illinois. So that's something to keep in mind. Even though you may or may not get wet, the wind is for real all night long tonight. And there are several different clusters of thunderstorms, a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings that are in play, but this is the tornado warning that's in effect for our area right now, and that's going Cumberland to Clark, and again, that's going to be up until 4:15. This is a new severe thunderstorm warning. If you could give us the details on that one, Nick. And again, that looks like it's all within Coles County right now. Smack dab in the middle is Charleston.
And I'm looking at it now, Jim. Looks like that one here, if I could find that information for us, just issued here in the last couple of minutes. So that tornado, it's several, bear with us, folks. There's a lot of warnings being expired right now and new ones being issued. So there we go. That's what I was looking for. Upwards into, excuse me, parts of Coles County right there, as you said, Jim. Basically smack dab in the middle of that one. That cell looks like now has shifted a little bit. I'm going to pull up the velocity on this, or the radar on this one, just to show everybody at home what we're looking at. Severe thunderstorm warning. Again, it's not quite as serious there as the tornadic activity, but yeah, that cell's moving real quick. Already kind of east of Charleston, heading closer towards Ashmore. So be aware that if you're in that area east of Charleston right now, a little bit more residential in that spot. Just we're dealing with that cell moving in, and then right behind it here, another cell developing towards Neoga, back into Windsor and Mattoon. So you've got a couple of spots now that have just kind of been issued in that area.
Right. We hit the 4 o'clock hour, so the southern Moultrie, southwestern Coles, eastern Shelby County, that severe thunderstorm warning was running up until 4 o'clock. It has not been extended.
Looks like a new warning.
Those storms
here,
are still there.
There you go.
And where's this new one at?
This one coming in, it looks like just north of Newton there, Crawford County, Jasper and Clark, as well as Cumberland. So that one just coming in, looks like in towards, south of Casey there. So this is more just outside our area.
Has that little clip right here. So here's the
Yes.
southern border. So it has a very small piece of pie, for lack of better imagination, right there. It's just a little triangle, southeastern Cumberland County, and this is going to be Clark County right here. So it's all filled in. 2 different clusters right there. The northern one is 4:15. What is the southern one in effect until, Nick?
It's like 4:30 for that one.
4:30. So 4:15 here, 4:30 there, both of which moving off to the east-northeast. Likely similar. This one's 25 miles an hour. It's probably 25 or 30 farther off to the south as well. That was the original tornado warning that was moving out of Effingham County that we were tracking closer toward the 3:15 hour shortly thereafter. That will continue as well. So we're going to see a large part of Clark County. Once we get out of Cumberland County, large part of Clark County, that's going to eventually be under a tornado warning as well. With these systems, strong enough rotation associated with both of these features as it continues farther off to the east. And this is the border with Indiana. Obviously, once it crosses the border, we'll send that over to our friends in Indianapolis. But for the time being, 4:15, 4:30, rotation on both of these features. if we could head back and get an update on some of that velocity tracker there, Nick, see if anything has tightened up in that area. So you're seeing the bright reds and greens right there. Obviously, again, here's our border for our coverage area. So we're more, at least for the time being, interested in this feature here. We did see the 2 clusters of storms, but the clear rotation in terms of the southern one is just off to the southwest of Granville, again. And again, you look for the counterclockwise rotation. So it's here, not here. This would be clockwise. This is the counterclockwise rotation right here. So headed toward, headed away, that's your twist there. Here it's in the exact opposite direction. So same thing here, just off to the southwest of Casey. Barely just south of Interstate 70, maybe more closer toward US 40 for that one. And it's very, very close to that border, Cumberland and Clark County border. So I highly suspect you get west of that, there's a good chunk of this Cumberland County corridor that could very easily be taken out of that tornado and severe thunderstorm warning. But again, that only runs up until 4:15. We have another 12 minutes for that. And we'll likely see Marshall associated with the next tornado warning that's going to come out. We don't expect this one to give up much in terms of any ground. May weaken on occasion, then tighten back up in terms of its rotation. And it's a scenario, not necessarily a long track tornado, but one that could pop down, spin back up, pop back down, spin up, and it could be a recurring pattern. There's rotation for its entire lifetime until it eventually dies off into Indiana under the cover of darkness, but at least in the short term, enough rotation, even though it may be going up and down, that we're going to continue to stay with that one. So you can see the National Weather Service did just update that polygon, but again, the rotation is clearly farther off to the east. I would have chopped off more of that polygon on the western flank of it. So Illinois 16, way up here with some severe thunderstorm warnings. They also have the tornado tag associated with them where there is going to be a possible rotation. So we could see these warnings here getting away from Ashmore and toward Paris. So this is going to be Illinois 1. They're not showing up on the map here, but it does go from Clark all the way up through Edgar County. So these are very long extended features right here, and they're going to be with us until they cross the border into Indiana. Do we have a time stamp on these here, Nick, these new severe thunderstorm warnings for Edgar?
Check in here. So the tornado warning there or the severe thunderstorm warning there, Jim?
If I said tornado, my bad.
Okay.
Red is going to be
Edgar
tornado.
County.
Orange is going to be severe thunderstorm.
They're pretty tight. 4:45 is what they have on that one.
4:45. So you could see another 40 minutes. This tornado warning is until 4:15.
Yes.
But the southern one, which clips southern portions of Clark County, runs up until 4:30. And as I mentioned, we'll likely see additional warnings coming out a little bit later. So if you are watching portions of the Olympics, will at times be a split screen with Olympic coverage. Not a whole lot going on right now with the Olympics. It's just some of the Mike Tirico chit-chatting with former skaters. We see Tirico all the time. We don't see tornadoes all the time. And good news in that respect. So we'll get back to Olympic coverage in just a little bit. But yeah, look at that rotation there coming up.
Yep.
And now, because the polygon was both sides of Interstate 70 initially when it was issued, but it was south of Greenup, staying south of Interstate 70. Now it's made that a little bit of a jog, but it doesn't look like the rotation is quite as intense right now coming up into Casey. Nonetheless, if I'm in Casey, I'm in the basement, I'm in my lowest spot, I got the TV cranked up as high as the volume can go so I could hear myself or Nick speaking about when this storm system is going to get out of my hair and I could come out of my safe location, okay? Or maybe you're tracking on the free WA&D weather app. Live streaming of tornadic activity anytime, day or night. So that's always there for you as well. Take that phone with you. You can call family and friends. Hopefully cell service stays up and running and there's no damage in your area, but we're going to continue to track both of these features. This one, and again, this looks like it's out of Cumberland County right now, and it's now a Clark County feature, and 4:15. That's not too much longer. Another 8 minutes. And unless it just completely falls apart, which we're not expecting, we'll probably see another warning issued farther off to the east. The question is whether or not it's going to be a severe thunderstorm warning or a tornado warning. Even if it's a severe thunderstorm warning, it's definitely shown signs of rotation. Maybe it broad, but we would have to at least stay with it just due to the fact that it could drop a tornado just like that. This looks a little bit more impressive once you get just off to the south of Grandview. You're seeing different colorization only due to the fact that Doppler radar sends signals out every so often, okay? You're looking in three-dimensional, basically. You're looking into the storm, you're looking at the sides of the storm, and once you're getting too far away, if the radar beam hasn't returned back to Doppler radar and it's already sending the next signal out, you get these different colors here. The purples, the blues. It's an indicator of not necessarily bad data, but the full data hasn't come in just yet from the initial radar beam that went out. And it hasn't come back to Doppler radar before the next one's going out. That's all that means right there. Could still be concerns with rotating storms, and that's going to be in that part of Jasper County. We're more concerned about Clark County right now, that KZ corridor. Oh, and there's the update. If we could zoom in on that KZ corridor. That should be the name of a town too. I like that. So, and again, you want the counterclockwise rotation. So the green, at least in this area, or excuse me, is this Indianapolis?
That's
Nick?
Indianapolis.
Okay,
there,
so this is Indianapolis now.
Yep.
So your Doppler radar site is over here. So moving toward, you want the green on the bottom, red on the top. That is going to be your counterclockwise rotation. And that would be toward the E and the Y of where it spells KZ right now. So that's your twist right there. And again, where Doppler radar hasn't, the data hasn't gotten back to the radar site before the next beam went out. So we're kind of on fringe territory of Lincoln and Indianapolis. So we don't get to, unfortunately, sample the lower level of the storm system. It's more at an elevated height, but it's still showing clear rotation in that KZ area, near or just off to the south of Interstate 70, maybe, I mean, splitting hairs, but maybe more US 40 corridor. And we still have to keep tabs on this polygon. Aha, new warning here, Nick?
Yes, yes, Jim. Hold on, just coming in here. That just popped here, tornado warning until 5 o'clock now. That is that same cell located near Casey you were just talking about.
And what's the forward speed on that one,
So
Nick?
that one now looks like is moving 40 miles per hour eastward. So it's picked up a little bit.
Okay, 40 miles an hour. Can we try to catch this on Lincoln radar? See if
Let me see if I go back a little bit.
It looks a little bit better. Okay, yeah. Still not, I mean...
Not very well defined.
The rotation that's south of Clark County looks more impressive than here. But nonetheless, it's still there. So again, now it's Lincoln. So you want your greens to the right of the reds. And that's what we're seeing here. So toward, away from Doppler radar. So right here, now to the Y in KZ, to just off to the east right there. But very clearly still at least US 40 southbound. Not so much to the north right now. So again, until 5 o'clock, top of the hour, for a good chunk of Clark County. That does include the Marshall area right along that I-70 corridor. The polygon does end right at the Indiana border. Indianapolis would take over shortly thereafter for these storms if they continue to exhibit the rotation. But, oh, and there's the update again. So now, yeah, we're seeing a little bit more definable feature, definitely off to the east of Casey right now. So if you're in the sound of my voice in Casey, the risk of tornadic activity is now over in your area. One thing to keep in mind, though, because I mention it time and time again, but the best way to learn is repetition. So if you've heard it before, I'm not going to apologize. I just want you to know it by heart. More than 70%, and this is a University of Illinois study, not something from Florida State or UCLA. This is a U of I study. More than 70% of storm-related accidents here in Illinois are post-storm. Why? Damage. Broken glass, nails, splinters, yeah, you name it. Doesn't have to be life-threatening injuries. So, good pair of shoes. You're going out to help your neighbors, and why not? Go check on them if you're in this area of Clark County. Heck, even back to the west in Cumberland County, Effingham County. Check on your neighbors. But don't be running out there just willy-nilly, lousy pair of Crocs. They're not going to do anything for you. Get a good pair of shoes. And stay with this storm system, okay? So the one that's near Grand, this looks like it's more, and I know they butted that polygon up into Clark County. Just looks like that's by the time it gets into Clark, it's going to be over the southeastern corner. And again, here's the river with Indiana. Most of Clark County is going to be away from its southern flank, but you're seriously getting into sparse population area right down in this area, but definitely sandwiched in between Marshall and Casey right now. Along or just off to the south of Interstate 70 is that rotation. A little bit broad, okay? We don't see, too bright red, too bright green. It's kind of strung out in this area, so it's a little broad in terms of its rotation, but it's there. I mean, it's clear as day. You don't need a rocket science degree to say, yeah, I see that. And I get emails all the time, oh, you talk about tornadoes. Well, where? Where is it? All right, we don't have visual confirmation. We're looking at Doppler radar right now, okay? If your boot's on the ground in this area, by all means, send us a picture. WAND.com/send it. We'll get that on air. South of Effingham, TJ, is this a video, guys? Let's put that up. So not a video, but wow, that's an impressive. That's an impressive photo. So I would imagine, I would have loved to have seen a video of this. I would imagine this is the rotation right here. Little rainbow right there. Here's your rain shaft coming down. How dark it is out of this cloud deck. Woo! So there are times where we call them rain-wrapped tornadoes. You can't see them. That's why Doppler radar is so critical. At night, you can't see them either. Doppler radar could see at night. This could be a tornado. You can't see it, though. It will be wrapped inside the rain. So no visual confirmation right there, but that's an impressive picture south of Effingham earlier in the day. So this is some of the dangerous stuff that we're dealing with that TJ just sent on in. Anything new that's coming in terms of damage reports or anything, Nick, on the weather wire?
Just one with that system in Effingham. There was 2-inch hail reported with that same system that we just saw, maybe in that picture, Jim. So outside of that, haven't seen any other damage reports yet. Looking at potential big hail with that system to our south near Robinson. That spot has been just outside. That looks more impressive as far as the rotation goes as well. But it's just on the edge of radar. That's a problem with these far eastern counties now. We get so far away from those radar sites, it's tough to pinpoint it exactly where things are. But as Jim's been saying, that area between Casey and Marshall, that's my biggest concern right now in Clark County. Outside of that, the severe thunderstorm warnings haven't looked as impressive. We haven't checked in on the reflectivity here in a little bit. Still big storm cells with this, and you can see them right there. A lot of lightning with these. The hail has been extremely impressive with this setup so far as well. So if you are in that area, Jim's been talking about it, just be smart. We don't need to see any damage pictures yet. You got plenty of time, folks.
Could we head to, you have a hail tracker available?
Let's see
there,
if I
Nick?
can get that up for us here. See if I can get the hail up for us.
You could definitely see the how it's lined up from north to south. Yeah, look at that. And again, Granville is out of our area, but look at that.
That's impressive.
That is definitely. Now, once you're starting into the purple shade area, those are the tiny ones. But you also have it in the other severe thunderstorm warning polygon farther to the north, and that's Charleston is right there. So you're into eastern Coles County, into Edgar right there. So yeah, but yeah, stacked up. And we just saw that on Doppler radar, how the storms are stacked up in this area, all headed out toward Indiana. So it looks like it's a big conglomeration, but there, and also here. So right on the border of Coles and Edgar County. This, can we zoom in on this one
Sure.
here, Nick?
Yeah.
The eastern Coles. Looks like it has a little bit of a notch right there.
Yeah, you're right.
So you get this little rear inflow to the storm, and just spoke of that backward C or a question mark. I don't like seeing that. So here's Illinois 16 going through Kansas toward East Charleston. Again, this is a severe thunderstorm warning, but that's clear rotation. If we could put the velocity tracker on that, I never like seeing that rear inflow to the storms right there. Now, see, that doesn't look terribly impressive in that area, but there is at least rotation. Here's the green, there's the red, but this shows it well off to the east of, not well, but it does show it to the east of Kansas, where that was back right out on the county line right there. More pictures of hail. Where's this one in from, guys? Back out of the way. Yeah, so, I mean, quarter size or larger is the definition for severe hail. And
It says Dietrich, Jim, is where that was.
that's
at.
in Dietrich,
Yep.
okay. Yeah, we see. Thank you. So you could see how it kind of clumps right there. So they're actually pea size, but they all clump together because there's just so much of it. So it eventually, I mean, it looks like the size of a golf ball right there. So it does golf ball size damage, not pea size hail damage. There's just so much of it. It congeals together, and wow, I mean, that's amazing. So as the hailstone starts, the inflow to the thunderstorm converges at the surface, shoots up. That water goes past the freezing line, turns into that little ball of ice, right? Starts to come back down past the freezing line, above freezing now, gets another coating of water on top of it, but the inflow into the updraft of the storm is so great, it pushes it back up above the freezing line again, so that new coating freezes on top of it. And that process goes over and over and over again until the updraft into the storm isn't strong enough to suspend that hailstone. And that's when it falls to the ground. And the larger the updraft, the larger the hailstone. So we could see what we're dealing with right there. Now, this is an update on the polygon. So as we mentioned prior, that should have been taken out of Cumberland County. It finally is. But still up until the top of the hour. We're 4:21 right now, so another 39 minutes until we hit the Indiana border. So there's your rotation. And again, green to the right. Or excuse me, this is now Indianapolis, so it's green to the bottom, red on top, where we're seeing the rotation. Definitely south of Interstate 70 right here, but well within that polygon. We still have the one run up until the bottom of the hour. That's going to be over a smaller part of Clark County. And the rotation is still here as well, and this is probably going to be extended as well for southern portions of Clark County. I forget the county name that Robinson is in, but it'll be for that one as well. There are several clusters of storms going north to south in this area, and all are moving off to the east. We just see the update on the severe thunderstorm warning for Edgar County as well. So again, no longer for Coles County. We were looking at that rotation, that little hook that was forming there. But you could see on our velocity, this is kind of all piecemeal. Where you're seeing a little rotation here, here. Nothing well definable there. It's rotating, but nothing discernible. That's why it's a severe thunderstorm warning as opposed to a tornado. And sure enough, yeah, National Weather Service just filling in the blank that I mentioned just a few seconds ago. So a brand new tornado warning for the southern flank of Clark County. And this one goes till 5. I'm going to say that one goes until 5:15, Nick.
Looks like with this latest one, Jim, they're shortening the time frame. It looks like a little bit till 4:45.
4:45.
Yeah,
all right. So they're calling me out.
Yeah,
that's okay. So the forward speed, I would imagine, is faster than it. Earlier, it was only 25 miles an hour. What do they have
now? They're at 40 here.
So at 40 miles an hour. And again, it goes back and forth. When storms first develop, it's hard for Doppler radar to get a true estimate as to their forward speed. So you need more data. And as more data comes in, you're tracking at point A to point B, and then, yeah, you get an idea of how fast it's moving at that stage of the game. So, again, at 40 miles an hour, then, yeah, 4:45 there, 5 o'clock here. The severe thunderstorm warning for Edgar County, do we have a time frame on that one, Nick?
That one, I believe, is also till 4:45.
Till 4:45.
Yep.
So we're looking 4:45, 5 o'clock. Regardless, the storms are in this area. Exhibiting rotation, stronger Clark County as opposed to Edgar. I would imagine these are the only games in town right now.
Yeah, just looking at everything else, Jim, that looks like it's it.
If we could head back to that St. Louis area,
Sure.
Because again, that was the area that I thought could start forming after 5 p.m. And flip over to Doppler radar for me.
And I will say, Jim, there has been a confirmed tornado, but it's outside of our area. It's the one south of Robinson there.
Okay, all right.
That's the only one confirmed by a spotter. Everything else is just radar indicated.
So again, here are the cells, and just because they're paralleling Interstate 70, much like their predecessors, there's going to be you could see them here as well, and another here. So the clouds are developing out in advance of a dry line. What's a dry line, you're asking? Well, that's where we're going from dew points in the 50s to basically a quick drop-off to dew points in the 20s and 30s. So as that dry line, it's typically associated with a wind shift as well. Southerly here, westerly here, we get converging winds along that dry line. And as winds converge, what happens to them? They're forced up. Much like when you're picking up a pile of laundry in your arms, it's forced upward. That's that rising motion. That's how the atmosphere works. So it's along that dry line that we're seeing these clusters of storms forming. And that'll be in an arcing fashion coming off to the northeast. So say, for instance, Decatur. We only had a quick rain shower roll through today. We're not out of the woods. Springfield, not a drop. We're not out of the woods. Okay.